Welcome to the AI Brief from the YPO Technology Network. I'm Stephen Forte. Something happened in the last few weeks that tells you more about the real risk of enterprise AI than any lab announcement or government hearing, and almost nobody in your industry is talking about it. Here is what I will give you in the next 8 minutes. The exclusion that is probably already sitting in your insurance policy, the reason the most sophisticated risk pricers on earth refuse to touch it, and the 3 things I would build this quarter so that a year from now you are still insurable. Here is the lens for today. When you want to know how dangerous something really is, do not ask the people selling it. Ask the people who have to pay if it goes wrong. For AI, that is the insurance industry, an entire business built on pricing risk that everyone else finds unpriceable. They put a number on hurricanes, they put a number on cyber attacks, they put a number on your own death. And right now they are looking at the AI running inside your company and, for the first time in a long time, declining to put a number on it at all. Start with what is already in your policy, because this is not a forecast. Over the first half of this year, major carriers, Chubb, Travelers, Berkshire Hathaway, and Berkley among them, filed for explicit AI exclusions across the 3 policies that actually protect a company and its leadership: general liability, directors and officers coverage, and errors and omissions. Directors and officers, or D&O, is the policy that shields you and your board personally when someone sues over a business decision. Errors and omissions covers you when your product or service causes a client a loss. Berkley's version is what the industry calls an absolute exclusion. It removes coverage for any claim arising from, in their words, the use, deployment, or development of artificial intelligence, not misuse, use. And this is not a fringe filing. The organization that writes the standard policy language most American insurers build on, Verisk, through its ISO forms, published a generative AI exclusion that took effect on the 1st of January. State regulators, who normally take the better part of a year to approve a simple rate change, have approved more than 80% of these AI exclusion requests. When the slowest institution in commerce moves that fast to let insurers off the hook, pay attention to what they just saw. Now, the part that should genuinely unsettle you: why? Insurers do not exclude things because they are scary. They exclude things they cannot price. And they have priced terrifying things, and they will insure a chemical plant, a cruise line, a satellite launch. What makes AI different is a combination they have almost never faced. The systems are opaque, so no one can reconstruct why the model did what it did. The loss scenarios cannot be modeled because there is no century of actuarial history for a technology that is 3 years into mass use. And worst of all, the risk is correlated. A house fire is one house. But if 10,000 companies are all running the same underlying model and that model has the same flaw, that is not 10,000 independent house fires. That is every house wired by the same electrician catching fire on the same night. Insurers have a word for losses that all arrive at once. They call them uninsurable. Here is the tell that they are not even trying yet. A recent industry survey found that 42% of insurers track no AI metrics at all. Not track them poorly, none. They are not underwriting this risk and pricing it high. They are declining to look at it and walking away. Give them credit for the honesty. Uncomfortable as it is, they are telling you in the most expensive language they have that they do not understand this well enough to stand behind you. And if you think this is theoretical, this week handed the underwriters 2 perfect exhibits. The first is a flaw, a security firm named GitLost. Companies now run AI agents on GitHub, the platform where most of the world's software lives, to automatically read and triage incoming requests. Researchers found that if you simply file a public request containing hidden instructions, the AI agent will obey them, reach into the company's private code, and post it back out as a public comment. No password, no hacking, just English text in a form anyone can fill out. And the guardrail meant to stop it was defeated by adding a single word, additionally, which nudged the model into complying instead of refusing. The second, Accenture, one of the largest firms that builds and runs AI systems for the Fortune 500, confirmed a security breach this week after an attacker claimed to have stolen roughly 35 gigabytes of its data, including source code and the digital keys that unlock cloud systems. To be precise and fair, Accenture called the matter isolated and said it had remediated the source, and it has not confirmed the attacker's full claim. But sit with the shape of it. The company thousands of enterprises trust to hold the keys to their AI is the company whose keys were allegedly for sale. That is the correlated one flaw hits every one risk the insurers are pointing at made real on a Tuesday. Here's my read. The era of what the industry calls silent AI is ending. For 2 years, most companies assumed their existing policies quietly covered an AI-caused loss the same way they covered any other mistake. Coverage that never mentioned AI but would have paid anyway. That silence is being written out of the contract, exclusion by exclusion, renewal by renewal. And here is the part that lands on your desk specifically. An exclusion does not reduce your risk by $1. It just moves the entire thing from the insurer's balance sheet onto yours. You are becoming self-insured on your single, fastest growing source of exposure. And most of you have not consciously decided to be. Let me make it concrete. Picture a mid-market manufacturer that put an AI system into its credit and pricing decisions last year. The board asked reasonably, "Are we covered if this goes wrong?" And someone checked the D&O policy and said yes. This year at renewal, an AI exclusion endorsement gets added on page 40, and nobody reads page 40. 18 months from now, the model misprices a major contract. A customer sues. The board turns to the policy and discovers the one risk that has grown the most is the one risk the policy now specifically will not pay. Nothing about that company got riskier overnight. Its safety net just quietly developed a hole exactly under the tightrope it decided to walk. So if I were sitting in your seat this quarter, I would do 3 things. First, before your next renewal, have someone read the actual AI exclusion language in your D&O, E&O, and general liability policies, not the summary, the endorsement, and tell you in one sentence what is no longer covered. Most of you do not know, and that sentence is a board-level fact. Second, build the 3 things underwriters will eventually require before they write this risk again, because they are also the 3 things that make the risk smaller. Durable decision records, so you can reconstruct what the AI knew and why it acted. Hard-coded operating boundaries the system cannot cross, not a quarterly audit after the fact. And governance that runs at the moment of the decision, not in a report next month. Third, call your broker and ask the plain question, what AI coverage can I actually buy today from anyone and at what price? Because the answer tells you exactly how the market prices the thing you are already living with. The through line of this whole stretch has been accountability, that you cannot hand off responsibility for what your AI does to the vendor who built it. Today adds the harder half. You cannot hand it to your insurer either. The one exposure growing fastest in your company is the one the market for transferring risk is quietly refusing to take off your hands. So build the records, the boundaries, and the governance that make you insurable again. Not because a policy will save you, but because the discipline that earns coverage is the same discipline that prevents the loss. That is the YPO Tech Network AI Brief for Wednesday, July 15th. I am Stephen Forte. If this was useful, send it to a fellow member. I will be back Thursday with more. Until then, stay sharp.